Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to pre-order upcoming Force of Will sets, ccgprime.com for singles and supplies, cardodoco.com for those rulers in the international market looking for product, and to our guest lecturer members, Vite Ramen. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours featuring myself, DMO73, and I'm joined, as always, by the lovely Mike Rance.
Chat, I need your opinion. Do I get store-bought pizza or do I get Domino's tonight? Leave it in the chat. I'll do whatever you guys want.
And the beautiful Paul Reisman.
Why is Domino's the correct answer? Let him know, chat.
Whoa! You can't sway chat like that, Paul. They have to form their own opinions.
I want.
You're right.
I'm
this
the
is
dean
Polar
of Polar
School.
School. I can do whatever I want.
That's true. He is the dean
true.
of Polar School. Well, we are so glad you are here. We got 1 week of spoilers to talk about, along with some cool news and announcements to kind of go over. But if you like what we're doing, want to consider supporting the channel or making me suffer, you can consider clicking that join button down below, as well as the super chat button. It goes to support the channel, helps us out financially. As if we're getting ready for GP season, the more you can support us, the more we can do cool stuff for the GPs. So as always, if you haven't gotten your pre-orders for this set as well, you should check out Odyssey Games, TCG Prime, and Cardo.go, because they will certainly have pre-orders available, and you are not going to want to miss this set. It's insane. Speaking of insane, let's just jump right into spoilers, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
We have our Crimson Frenemies at the Farmlands of Relay, an extension rule to start this game with your extension rule, and exactly 2 rulers named Lunya, Wolfgirl, and Lumia. So Flicker Lumia and Wolfgirl Lunya. As starting rulers, if you have 6 Cthulhu cards, 6 Goat cards, 6 Human cards, they can overlap, and it's also 6 or more. It's just at least 6. And you don't have any Water cards or Darkness cards in your deck. Cards named Nightmares of Relay you control gain Mastery Goat in all areas, in all zones. And whenever a non-Goat Resonator you control attacks, each player puts a 2/2 Fire Cthulhu Goat Resonator token with Bloodlust into the field, rested. Whenever a Goat J Resonator leaves the field, from either side of the field, mind you, put a Dream counter on this card. If there are 28 counters on this card, you win the game. Alt win condition stuff. This is pretty neat. It's going right along in line with what I was hoping for about the extension rules. Is I want them to be like deck building restrictions, like feeling more limited, more specific, not super wide open, especially given how busted Lapis Cluster rulers are. So putting some limits on them is very, very nice. What's your guys' first thoughts about the combination of Lunya Lumia?
Mike, why don't you go as the
glad that-
Lumia stan?
I'm glad. Am I Lumia stan?
I think he's Val Stan, but he'll talk about
Well,
Lumia.
but you also won a GP with Lumia, if I recall.
I think. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
I remember because I built the deck that you played.
Oh, very good. Okay, so you remember better than I do. My brain's shot. Anyway, I'm glad this has Mastery Goat in lowercase letters instead of all uppercase letters, because then everybody can say, no, I'm the greatest of all time. If I tap myself,
yeah, just turn yourself sideways.
then I can play.
Yeah,
just turn yourself sideways. In all seriousness, though, obviously, like, just getting like additional, incentives to attack is pretty in flavor for like the Lumia side of things, which is great. Like, again, Lumia is a storied ruler that has stood the test of time because it turns out 3 blink effects are really good.
crazy.
And Lunia has told us that effects that deal 100 damage on attack are not. So I'm glad they're actually incentivizing the Lunia part.
Yeah, this to me is really interesting because Lumia got a subruler, a Fate subruler last set, but then in this set she has her own support, which we'll go into here. But this extension rule is very clearly making Lumia the supporting actor for Lunya, like very clearly, I think, in my mind. It's trying to let Lunya take center stage and be supported by having a good kind of static effect on a partner, which I think is very fun. I think it gives a lot of credence to that style. There's also some very silly things that you can do with this. For instance, if there's already a resonator on board and you have the 3-drop Shakti, that has swiftness, precision, and first strike, and whenever it kills something, it recovers. You can just attack infinitely to get 28 goats to leave the field and then win the game. Because you'll
That's
swing
pretty cool.
you'll swing at the first thing with Shakti, which will make everyone have a goat. She'll kill the first thing, recover. Then she swings at the goat that she made, and then makes another goat and repeats the process ad infinitum, which is hilarious.
Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong. Are there are no cards that change the races of your resonators other than Traveler in Wonderland, I assume?
Currently, no. That's not true.
And this
That's not true. I apologize. That's not true. Moojdart, the stone,
Oh,
the
the
fantasy stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, not a water card. That is slow as shit, and
Yeah.
that's not happening. But
Just because it produces
okay.
water doesn't make it a water stone.
Yeah,
Correct.
for
You
sure.
can't Gretel a Thief sing, especially not now.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, that kind of ruins my dream
that's
scenario
fair.
because it says you can't have any water cards. Just make everything a goat and just kill your board multiple times.
Yeah, Glorian fan, if you blink a goat, does it give you a dream counter? Yes, specifically because it says whenever a Goat Jade Resonator leaves the field, doesn't care where it goes. Even a goat token, if a goat token leaves the field for any reason, even if it was flickered, as Mike has frozen his face, there he's back, you'll get a dream counter. One thing that's interesting to note, purely lore driven about this card, is Alejandro let us know that the number 28 is significant for lore reasons because of the weird timeline shenanigans and like the Cthulhu element of the ruins in like Trinity Cluster. 28 is apparently considered, I can't remember exact reasoning, but like mathematically 28 is considered to be the first quote unquote perfect number. It's also like the first Euclidean number. There's something like actually like mathematic theory about the number 28. And so it's really interesting that also Helen from Trinity Cluster has been searching for the perfect number and wound up in a ruins that was all Cthulhu. And here we have Lunya, the Cthulhu person, trying to sacrifice a bunch of goats to get to 28, which is very like, how deep does the rabbit hole go?
So I've done a little bit of research here for you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
A perfect number being number 28 is a number where all the numbers that divide into it perfectly add up to give the number itself. So 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 14 equals 28.
So there you go. So we now
There you
know
go.
what the perfect number is. It's 28, and Helen has
I think
supposedly
it's the second
been looking
perfect
for...
number.
Chat GPT is currently giving me everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, it's a perfect number in mathematics. First even perfect number.
Mm-hmm.
It's a triangular number.
Ooh.
The lunar cycle is 28 days, which kind of goes back to the moon thing with the pitch black moon. Yeah,
28 is the
lots of-
age I was when I realized that life was going nowhere.
All in all, very cool card. I mean, I think, comparison to like these extension rules very clearly feel a lot more. This one feels more like just helps to make Lumia into the supporting character for Lunya, while also giving this kind of like backpedal thing that she's like building towards. I do think the alt win condition here is just kind of like, if you don't kill her fast enough, eventually she's gonna get there, right? So that's something to kind of note, which I think is great. We've seen like Crossing Point is just kind of it's that eventuality piece, but sometimes it's even grosser than that. But I really like that this leans itself into the flavor of Lubia Lunya to kind of show you that piece, which is really exciting. I really like it.
Now you're saying that you can't have 6 Cthulhu, for instance, like Haster wouldn't count toward a Cthulhu card, a goat card, and a human card all at the same time.
If he has
right?
if he has all three races, yes, he would count as
Oh,
a
okay.
Cthulhu human.
So it does cross over.
It does cross over. Yep. If they have multiple races, they'll count for both. Yep, for sure.
Okay. Hey
Let's
Garrett, you're not on the podcast, but what your plans work?
hooray.
Your plans work, buddy.
Speaking of
Hooray.
cards that have two races, this is Throm, Farming the Land, a 2-cost Cthulhu human. By the way, he's also wearing the Greed Jade Amulet, which I think is hilarious.
Cute.
Limit 2, Mythic, Swiftness, Bloodlust, 6/6. If he's playing with Lunya, fire Goat J Resonators you control, gain plus 200 attack. And whenever a limit counter is removed from this card, if there's no limit counters on it, search your deck, graveyard, and or hand for a fire Goat Resonator and put it into the field. If you searched your deck, shuffle it. At the end of the turn, if there are no limit counters on this card, it deals X 100 damage to each non-Goat J Resonator, where X is the number of Goat entities. I'm assuming X is the number of Goat entities on the field because it's entities. It just says X is the number of Goat entities. Not that you
Well,
can...
if it doesn't specify,
Right.
it would
Normally-
refer to your stuff on the field, right?
Not the question is, does it track both sides of the field? Because it doesn't say entities you control. It just says entities. So I'm pretty sure it's both
It
sides.
sounds like it's, yeah. If you're playing the goat mirror, whew, this guy's blowout.
And then if it does damage, return. Well, it only hits non-goats. So if you only have a bunch of goats, and then if it does damage at all, so if it successfully does damage to it at all, you put it back in its hand. So it'll ping itself. And if it survives, it gets to get recycled, which I think is neat.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
this
Not bad.
this card seems interesting, kind of neat, but it feels real slow from what I can tell, especially if you don't get like the right little package to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have to imagine he also makes a goat whenever he attacks, right? Because of the extension rule, right? And Lunya's gonna be pinging something, and he has swiftness, and you probably played a goat on turn 1, so like, there's definitely something here.
Is it good enough to see play? Who knows?
Well, the interesting part to me is that it'll be with Lumia being able to flicker it, is that like the limit counter thing will probably like never come up because you'll probably just like swing with him, remove one limit counter, and then flicker him. It's kind of weird that they like almost don't want you to flicker him because his triggers are best if he has no limit counters, right? So you kind of want him to burn the counters, which I think is very interesting. I will say that we do have cards that
creates
let you...
this dynamic where do I flicker this or do I flicker something else? Like, do I flicker my own goat?
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting for me.
The other part is we do have cards that burn limit counters from other things, though, right? So like remove limit counters from number of Cthulhu entities you control, right? So I could see that coming into play potentially with this as well. It's very neat. Very neat. Let's talk about her other card. The other goat resonator. The three-eyed black goat of Relay. Speaking of goats, 1-cost goat nightmare.
Yep.
Reunited with Lunya, the wolf girl, enter or whenever a ruler you control deals damage to a resonator, which is, by the way, whenever something attacks, because of how Lunya works. You gain control of target non-goat resonator another player controls until end of turn. If you do, recover it, and it gains swiftness until end of turn. This card deals damage equal to its attack to you. This ability only triggers once per turn. That's already insane for Lunya. Remember Kame? Yeah. Hey, Mike, remember Kame, the 4-drop demon that we would pay 4 to try to steal something and be able to swing with it?
Remember Little Red from Grim Cluster, where you had the Awakening that would do this for like 5, and that was considered like the best card ever? It's happened in Black Goat.
Yeah, for sure. But here's the real text of it that's important. Enter, each player destroys a regalia of total cost 2 they control, or a goat resonator they control. This card deals 400 damage to you. Doesn't say 2 or less. Doesn't say 3 or less. Doesn't say target. Just says 2-cost regalia they control. Anti-mask goat. Hooray.
I love very specific answers to
I
cards
mean,
nobody likes.
to be perfectly honest, there's a ton of 2-cost regalia in general. This card has so much more, but like you read that and you go, mask. Like very
God,
clearly.
I'm so glad that we have an answer to strangers again.
Banish well, there's also all the new Fate regalia, right? There a lot of those are 2-drops. And also Giotto, right, has a lot of 2-drop regalia in her package, right?
All of them are 2-drops, actually, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It also answers most Fate regalias when they go second. Yeah, exactly. God's Art, Lost of the Woods for 1 red. Banish a Goat Resonator. Destroy all damaged J/Resonators and put a limit counter on each entity with limit. That God's Art is kind of very clearly designed to help Lunya maybe get that final push, right? Like she needs to be able to get that final swing through. So we just sack this goat and do what we need to do. But it is still nice. I mean, you very easily can manage damaging things just because of Lunya, which I think is very nice.
Neat.
Yeah.
Also, cute little interaction with the Sanguine Arena.
Oh, that's true.
King everything on the board and just God's Art.
Mm-hmm.
Pop everything. Super
Feels
fun.
like we're going to see a lot of Charlotte pitch the cancel to tap it and cancel, flicker at end of team, pop it. So here's the thing. You can't cancel 3-eyed black goat. We'll get to it, Yo-Yo Way. You can't cancel it with that thing because that thing only stops non-resonator spells. This is a resonator. Now, what you could see is them try to do like pitch Ray Asnable with coin to stop the mask, which we'll talk about in a minute. But then, like you said, you still just have the goat on field. So then next turn you just swing with the goat and flicker it and try to pop their mask again because they stopped the enter, which means you kept the goat. The ability cancel one, for sure. I was thinking of the first one. We hadn't gotten there yet, for sure. So moving right along. We have our first Lumia card, Healing Wing Dragon Rider. So they did give some cards specifically to Lumia. 2-cost, 6/7. With if it's reunited, it gains Flying Quick Cast Drain and cannot cancel it or its abilities. So it's just like probably gonna hit board. Enter, remove target resonator from the game. If you do, it gains this card cannot be moved to a non-hand zone, and its owner cannot play cards that share a name with the chosen target or activate abilities of a card that share a name with the chosen target as long as it's in a removed area. At the end of the chosen target's controller's next turn, put all resonators removed from the game this way from all removed areas into their owner's hands. So essentially, it's like a delayed removal on a body. But when you consider that, like, Lumia gets to flicker this, it's pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, because if this gets flickered, then the thing doesn't come back, I assume, right?
Right. Because also, like, if I play this on my turn, then you don't get to play that card at all during your whole next turn. You're only going to get it back during your next end phase because it's the controller's next end of turn. So it's, like, gone for a bit, which I think is very nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like the concept
just
of like,
yeah,
we're gonna take this and just like take it out of combat. Just like it's removed.
We're gonna go over here for a bit. Let's go.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Just like every other Firelight card that has ever been printed in the same time Lumia's been printed, this will see no play.
Play it after end of turn triggers on opponent's turn. Yeah, that's pretty good. Remove something and then you get to get it off the board for like 2 turns, right?
Well, recognize with Lotus that you can, I believe you can set this face down for 1.
But then you still have to pay.
Any time you can ambush it.
Yeah, but ambush still becomes red-white. So at that point in time, then you're paying 3 will for it as opposed to 2 when it already has quick cast because you're playing as Lumia.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't super work. Remove the stone that Nicte animates and it doesn't come back. because they can't put it in their hand. Can't put stones in your hand. That's funny.
That's really funny.
That is really funny. That's good. Nick Day also stops enters though, so that will be a little tricky.
That's real.
if you can get rid of the Nick Day and then you can get rid of the stone, like go for it. That's funny.
Girl staring at, play this, eat the stone.
There we go. We're
Spicy.
Eating stones, baby.
That's a spicy meatball.
Next up, we have Blessed Champion, 2 cost 5/6. Light human J resonators you control gain precision and barrier. Chant, specifically. Enter, or whenever this card attacks, if you control a J ruler with Lumia in its name, target a resonator card in your graveyard. If it's a 2 or less, not named Blessed Champion, and is either mono attribute light, mono attribute fire, or dual attribute light fire, you get to reanimate it. And then whenever it leaves the field, search your deck for a card named Blessed Knight and put it into the field, then shuffle your deck. Free extra body every single time you flicker this card, on top of it reanimating something whenever it comes in. So like potentially getting 2 bodies every single time.
And also when Blessed Knight comes in, if this died by combat and whatever swung at it like is tapped, Blessed Knight's just coming in and being like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. This guy is pretty sick. Blessed Champion is a really, really cool card here for like combat mid-range shenanigans. You just kind of keep getting the value.
I appreciate that wall of text about it being mono attribute light, mono attribute fire, or dual attribute, doesn't share a name, target is chosen 2 or less. You already stopped us from playing Water and Darkness cards on the card. Just let us do this.
Well, you could still play Lumia solo mode, right? There's nothing stopping you from trying to play Lumia solo, right?
Let us
Lumia aggro, yeah.
Lumia solo mode.
Yeah, for sure. That's true.
Plus,
Yo-Yo Why
if they
does
could bring back any 2-drop on swing or enter. Like, why is this card a white card? That's weird. Like a white-red card that animates.
Reanimate Olympian Magna, give it swiftness, swing, get another card, end of turn flicker. Yeah, for sure. That's certainly possible.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
There's some
that's
red-white Olympian shenanigans for Lumia, for sure, 100%. Nictate's easy to out in this deck because it only got barrier non-fire. You're not wrong. a lot of fire cards here. We can certainly
ping you with Lumia.
Yeah.
Demon Flame.
There you go. There it is.
Demon Flame? Oh my god.
Now
that's a name I haven't heard in so long.
That card got me my World's Invite. Last card here is Crimson Lies Unison Dance. Quick cast Remnant. You can only play 1 Crimson Lies Unison Dance per turn. Reunited with Lumia, you pay 1 white rather than pay this card's cost if you choose only 1 option. Choose up to 2. Remove target rested non-goat resonator you control from the game, then put it into the field under its owner's control. Put 2 2/2 Fire Cthulhu goat resonator tokens into the field. This is just better Blessing of Yggdrasil. Blessing of Yggdrasil. Or Yggdrasil's Grace. Sorry, Yggdrasil's Grace.
Yeah.
It's just better Yggdrasil's Grace.
Yiggy, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like the fact that you can do some insane things with like, or let's go with the Olympian lines, right? Like play Hestia, ping your opponent for 5, swing in, target something, have that's already been damaged by Lunya, because of the swing. Hestia kills it, then hits your opponent for 2. Then you play this, you flicker the Hestia, comes into play, hits your opponent for 5, swing, pop something else because of the Lunya ping trigger, hit them in the face, end of turn, Lumia flicker, Hestia comes in, burns your opponent for 5. You got 2 things off board, you have a blocker, and you hit your opponent for 15 plus damage.
Gross.
Me over here playing Millium with Star Scale, just being like, thank God.
Me over here with my 40 counters on Millium.
Listen.
Oh, jeez.
This card is very cool. I like it a lot.
I'm still on the Sanguine Arena train because it deals 200 to each resonator. So you can just make 2 goats, tap Sanguine, gain 2 of your points needed to win.
Yeah,
it's super funny.
I really like the fact that like Force will finally start putting, you can only play one of this flicker spell that can be used again once per turn.
Yeah, for sure. That's the correct line of text.
It's almost as if that's been problematic before.
I'm glad these lines we're talking about aren't legal in the next online event. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. We do have our playmats in for the circuit kit for this quarter. It's gonna be, well, the first 2 quarters combined. The Skiv display mat. We don't have the dates yet, but it is going to be Paradox format for the Ruler School event. We're gonna try out Paradox format as a good, like, let's try it.
Yay!
Do something different.
We love rotating formats. Sing with me, everyone. We love rotating formats. Love rotating formats.
So, speaking of rotating formats, let's talk about an extension rule. This
Speaking of non sequiturs, how's it going, Jeremy?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. This is Glorian's Bond of the Sacred Spirit. Someone point, Leica is absurd in Paradox. Leica lost her best tools to going into Paradox. Anyway, this is the Glorian Bond of the Sacred Spirit. Extension rule. You can start this game with this card in your extension rule area and exactly 2 rulers named Charlotte Determines Girl and Glorious Masked Crusaders as starting rulers. Only if you have 4 cards named Divine Beast of Adaraktia, which, by the way, has been updated to actually have the keyword drain so that it can't stack. You don't have any fire cards or any darkness cards in your deck. And then there's some more conditions. If you would draw your starting hand, you draw a starting hand -1, so your starting hand is 4. The solo mode of solo mode cards you control is engaged. You pay 3 less to play a card named spells named Rendezvous of Wind and Light. And as the game starts, put an astral counter on a ruler you control named Glorious. It is now referred to as a ruler with the astral condition. That means she dead. If you do, search your deck for a card with Broken Mask at its name and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is an as the game starts thing, so it's before beginning of game triggers, which means you just get to start the game with Broken Mask 100% of the time. And because of the extra text of solo mode cards being engaged, the taxing or the racial removal and cheat-in part of Mask are active, despite the fact that you have 2 rulers, mainly because one of them is dead. Now.
Mucho texto.
Now. This card essentially says, start game with Mask. Right? But we gotta
get your goats.
But we gotta talk about this for sure. Because on its surface, I get that it's very easy to freak out and go, Mask. I really just need people, in my opinion, to actually consider the cost that you have to pay to be able to make this work. A 4-card opening mulligan is infinitely worse than a 5-card opening mulligan. You'll still start the game with 5 cards because Mask will become your 5th, and then Mask draws you a card on enter, but you can only manipulate 4 of them. That's infinitely worse than starting to be able to manipulate.
No, Jeremy, clearly the lower starting hand is a nod to the fact that Charlotte will just flip and get you your entire hand back. Come on. They know how broken this card is.
Let's see.
Wait, that was a lie. That was not real.
It does not affect it. It does not affect mulligan. It does. It means you are only mulliganing with 4 cards worth of knowledge versus 5, which is actually a drawback. Over the course of many games, it will have an impact. So that's one. Secondly, you lose Garion, Persephone, Replicant Dante, Replicant Odin. You still can't use Mirror for any kind of discounted cost. And you also don't get any of the other discounted cheap spells because you are no fire cards. You can't play High Speed Uppercut because you can't play darkness cards. So anything that the previous Glorious decks were using to be competitive, you do not have outside of Robometa. And thirdly, I will also put this way, is that you are probably not playing more than 2 masks at this point because you don't want to end up post-mulligan with like 3 masks in your hand. So you're probably playing like 1 to 2 max because you're going to be able to grab it, which means once it gets answered, it's just gone. So I mean, like, some people are saying it's not a cost, and I'm not going to get into the nuances of fighting over our opinions of whether or not it's a cost or not. But as someone who was doing a shit ton of testing for Glorious and Mask stuff, it's going to feel like a cost in terms of the deck's like competitive viability. That being said, this extension rule is also a very similar example of like Faria serving to support Charlotte. Like, that's kind of the goal here. And I think it does that very well lore-wise and mechanically. Why does it void 3 the spell when it only has void 2? Well, because Mask would tax the spell 1.
Yeah.
So now it still gets rid of the tax part too. Because additive cost happens before discounted cost. Looking at you, Gruce Ballesta's Awakening.
I hate how intuitive that is, but I'm not going to harp on that. I've harped on cards like this enough already.
Yeah, so this, I mean, like, we don't have to go into the nuances of it. I'm not going to get into the fight about our opinions about whether or not this is fine or not. It is what it is. We'll see exactly how many people actually decide to play this deck competitively, and also, I doubt many people are going to try to just casually play this deck. So we're back in the same thing of Mask doesn't exist in a vacuum. So don't let it be a boogeyman. Just play. Be considerate and play. Anyway, let's move on to the other cards. Speaking of the other card that has Broken Mask in its name, we can get into that. This is, rotate please, Reassembling the Broken Mask, 4-cost chant with Remnant. If it's the first spell named Reassembling the Broken Mask you play this turn, you pay 3 less to play this from your graveyard. So again, even under a mask tax, you can play it for 2 blue. Choose another player. If chosen player has more cards in their hand than you, discard your hand, then draw X cards, where X is the number of cards the chosen player has in their hand. When this card is discarded by an activate ability of a Jade ruler you control with Charlotte in its name, target a non-resonator spell. Its controller expels it unless they pay 1, where Y is the number of cards in your graveyard. So she essentially turns her discard into, as long as there's a legal target for her discard, she's got some cancels to be able to work with.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, this card's very good. I really enjoy this card. It's a kill spell. I'm sorry, it's a negation,
right,
effectively, right? Which is really nice. And then this helps you kind of get around the like not having enough cards in your hand problem that you're given at the start of the game. So it's like, yeah, you can get back up to that starting hand.
But... And also the fact that Charlotte is like burning cards from hand to do her effect, right? So like the idea is like, yeah. Charlotte, the whole point of Charlotte was that when she judgmented, she refilled her hand. Now she gets hand refills that aren't judgment, right? So she can stay on her front side longer, which I think is nice. Glorian fan, if you have Grim Contract on board, you play this, you discard 4, you get 2,000, or you'd get 4 separate triggers of gaining 500 life. So at the end of it, you'd gain 2,000 life. It's just a tempo deck now? Yeah, it's just a tempo deck now, for sure.
Well, it's always been a tempo deck.
Yeah. Well, just Mask. Mask has been more of it just shifts to being more of a tempo deck than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I think this card's great. And also, you know, if you are playing one Mask and you see it in opener, then your 5th card gets you to go grab this card, right? Then you can go grab this card and have it be your 5th card. And so then, you know, you've got another possible target for Broken Mask in its name. Let's see. Next Charlotte card. This is Aquafeather Phoenix, 2-cost Divine Beast Phoenix, flying barrier, total 1 cost or less. Enter, put target chant or resonator card from your graveyard on top of its owner's deck. If you do and you own the chosen target, you draw a card. So if you recycle itself, you draw a card, which is neat. How much will it cost for gloves? That.
That's on the money. That's right there.
That's $10. That'll do it.
That's there you go.
And ta-da! Aqua for the Phoenix. When this card is discarded by the activate ability of a J ruler you control with Charlotte in its name, cancel target activator automatic ability you don't control. So she does have a Lorite, right? Essentially, as we talked about before, though, with like against the Lumia goat stuff, right? She'll just be like, okay, swing flicker. I don't know. Glorian Song. At end of turn, if you discarded 2 cards this turn and you control a J ruler with Charlotte in its name, put this card from your graveyard into the field. Each turn, only 1 Glorian Song ability triggers per player. So that, I mean, again, that lets her sit back on her laurels a little bit, playing a little bit more defensive while still generating some value, right? And then she can buy back things that she also discarded that turn. I'm not entirely sold at how good that is because he's just a 5/6 stat wise, but like it being a Lorite's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it's a Lorite. It buys something back that you discarded that turn.
That's a true point. And... Sorry. I pointed out for Alejandro. Good. Not even swing flicker. If you're playing against the Lumia and they use this against the goat, they're gonna lose their mask that turn regardless because it rests the goat to be able to cancel it. So this is also not an answer to goat against Lumia Flicker because she will just flicker the goat and kill your mask anyway. That's a great point, Alejandro. Jeez Louise. You pitch to Glorious and Charlotte in the same turn and you get it back. That's true. That's also true. You can cycle inheritance.
Play Spirit of the Mirage Ruins. I think that's probably just the way this deck deals with that.
Maybe.
Like one prominent way. Yeah, this card is fine. Yeah, I think this card is fine. It's got that barrier cost. It's got flying, so it's hard to interact with. And then if it's in the graveyard and you end up reanimating it, you basically discarded a card to put this card into the field.
Yeah. Lachlan?
So not bad.
Buddy.
What?
Hi.
Oh my god.
Hi, bud. How's it going over there?
Holy.
How you doing on the other side of the world? Good to see you, buddy. Good morning.
Oh my god.
Good to have you. We're talking about water cards that we're discarding and stuff.
Yeah, we're making birds.
Birds.
Wait, no. This is not a bird. This is a divine beast Phoenix. Bird catcher stonks in the fucking garbage.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately.
Oh. And they just made Zero's Familiar a bird, and they can't make the bird a bird.
You can just use this to loop with the other aqua feathers for unending cancels. Cancel engine is crazy. For sure.
This is true.
Lorites. I have lots of Lorites.
Lorites?
Mm-hmm.
It would say Array Azadable Inheritance discard as...
Mm-hmm. It just says if you discarded 2 cards. It just says if you discarded 2 cards. He doesn't really care how you discarded them.
So kind of relevant.
So like it was said before, you could like pitch, if it was during your turn, you could pitch a card to Inheritance to cycle and then pitch this card and then animate this card, put the card you pitched to Glorious back on top of the deck and then draw it. So it essentially like makes the Glorious draw engine like actually card positive as opposed to card neutral. So Falchion is great with this. Yep, 2-drop. Falchion will be very good with this card. I can imagine that will definitely go into that deck for Charlotte for sure. Probably her like best in slot resonator will be Falchion for sure. Set up full value Tinkerbells. Yep, also very good.
Lachlan, welcome to the party. Yeah, it is supposed to be used with CFC Charlotte. This whole set is Lapis Cluster.
Yep.
You can loop a heroic up for this card? No. Okay.
So actually, hold on. Okay, so let's talk about this. Hi, Lachlan. Glad you're back. This is for use with CFC Charlotte. The set that drops in a week is Masterpiece 2. It is all brand new era support for every single ruler released in Lapis Cluster. Happy set release week. Thank you. So that's that.
Put on the gloves again, Jeremy.
They're on again. I've re-put them on.
Double glove. Get a new pair.
I don't have them. Anyway, so there's that. One thing to note is that Umir has come off the ban list, but he has been reworked and tweaked. So now his cheat-in ability only works if you're playing the Umir ruler. Otherwise, you have to pay full cost for him in order to be able to get his cycling effect. So sorry to let you know that Heroic Epic Told in 1001 Nights does not work unless you're playing Umir. So,
well, I think what Lachlan's really saying is that this card can be cheated in with Heroic Epic, and then you just put the Heroic Epic back on top and get it back to hand, and this thing comes back to hand. But that's paying 3 for things over and over again. And Lachlan, if you pay 3 for something in this game right now, you die.
That's not true.
Welcome.
That's not true.
At chance.
That's not true.
Jeremy.
Unless it's a card that's helping you set up a game lock later, such like Ray Asnable based on the matchup. 3-drops are still very, very played. Like, it's not as common. The curve of the game has definitely shrunk from what it was before. I doubt we ever see a 5-drop get cast unless someone's like, well, you're tapped out. I need to kill you. Pay 5. Here's Garion. Like something like that. But
but Garion also says tells you what to eat and where to shove it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Last time you played Forcible was Worlds when Ryan won. Well, the game's evolved quite a bit since then, but welcome back. Maybe you'll give it a try again. It's a lot of fun. Lumia Lunya has 3-drop win the game with Shakti, right? There are 3-drop lines that win the game for sure.
Okay, there are 3-drop lines that win the game, not 3-drop lines that are infinite value. That's the difference.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about our last 2 cards, and then we'll go into announcements, shall we? So we have, make sure I did download these things. I did. Okay, good. So we have the Divine Beast of Proto-Paterpolis. This is DB Phoenix. DB Phoenix. Or DB Sphinx, we'll call it. 2 cost plus X, Flying Drain, Barrier Chant, 7/7. If you're playing it with Glorious, on enter, you put up to X resonators with inheritance from your graveyard into the field. It doesn't matter what the cost of those resonators are. You can just do it. Giants, anyone? If X is
drop the trail, let's go!
If X is 2, Magic Stone entities your opponent controls gain. This card cannot be recovered in any way until the end of their controller's next turn. So you can also stone lock your opponent a little bit. That's fun. Inheritance for 1 green and 1 void. If you control a ruler with Glorious in its name, put the top card of your Magic Stone deck into the field rested. Then if you control 2 entities named Briseus Memoria, put this card from your graveyard into your hand and heal all astral rulers. Otherwise, draw a card. So, remember that dead Glorious we had from before? You can make her not dead anymore. Hooray!
Oh my god, it's a blessing of revival, and now there will be a rendezvous of light and wind between everybody and lore.
Yeah.
I cast Revivify.
That's pretty much what this is.
Yeah.
The Chrono Gears are also amazing grabs for this. You're absolutely right. Alice Liberation, also a great option. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that you can grab with this for some pretty cool stuff. Feels like a beater, certainly, and is definitely going to be the way that you try to reanimate Glorious. That being said, I'm not entirely sold on that. Like, every version of Charlotte X Glorious is actually going to care about trying to reanimate Glorious. And hear me out. There's a really, because she starts Astral, you can, in Wanderer specifically, you can play the Dante Satan Stone that is all 5 colors if you have an Astral ruler.
God,
That's
the
true.
fuck up. I hate
That's
that.
true.
Come on.
So you could just be like, yeah, Charlotte, you could be like, yeah, Glorious is dead, but we're having this stone. Just keep her dead forever.
I want more 5-color stones in this game, especially ones that have 0 cost. If you're doing
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're just like, I mean, you could only use 3 of the 5 colors anyway, because no darkness, no fire. But like, whatever, it's fine. Star Scale, stop your crimes. Yeah, for sure. I'd rather play Dante Stones. I'm not going to revive Glorious. Yeah, that's totally your choice.
There's something really funny here.
I'm listening.
Just dumping a Remnanthropos, the big giant boy. He banishes everything when he comes into the field.
Yeah, I like that. You banish your own things too, so I don't super like that, but it is neat.
That's fine, whatever. just
10-10, you can't
flex on
target
them.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Babatunde, how's it going,
Giants.
buddy? Our last card so far is Divine Beast of Ma'at. So, 2 cost, protect, pierce, barrier 1 or less, 3/3. You can play cards with inheritance from your graveyard. I don't know why you would want to. You can play the Sphinx. Pretty much is probably like the only one you really actually want to play. Reunited with Glorious. Whenever you discard a card with inheritance, you get +2/+1/+1 counters on this card. So it gets a little bigger over time. And Reunited with Glorious, it has Reunite solo mode, inheritance for green and white. Search your deck for a card named Rendezvous of Light and Wind. Oh, hey. Search your deck and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. If you moved a card this way, put this card from your graveyard into the field. So not only did you get Rendezvous, you also got a body.
Here's the deer.
Yeah, you can cast the Resonators from grave. Yes, that is what it means. You're not using the inheritance effects from grave. You're casting them. Solo mode on this is confusing. Isn't it turned on with the XR anyway? Like, I'm fine with it, but I'm confused by it. Maybe it's... This is one of the weirdest solo modes, though, for sure. Because if you're playing solo mode... If you're playing solo mode with Glorious, then it would be Glorious, so you'd have the reunited text. But if you're playing with Charlotte and Glorious, then you have solo mode live anyway because of the XR, which means this text only applies because you have Glorious. So
they probably designed this before they designed. They probably designed this before they designed the XR and just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah,
like, whatever.
I don't know. It's got solo mode. It doesn't really, because it has reunited. It doesn't really need solo mode. But you know what? We're here for it. Goat, Divine Beast, not a goat, but antlers. ABC format. That's a good point. ABC format is probably the main indicator of it. You could also play solo mode in other decks. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. The formatting for ABC makes sense.
Yeah.
All in all, cool stuff. We still have one more Glorious card to go.
Ooh.
At least as far as I can tell,
Princess
because we saw two. We saw two. No. One more new card. Because Charlotte got Repairing, XR, and Aquafeather, and Glorious got DB Sphinx and DB Mod. So there's a third. I would imagine there's a third card for Glorious. We've got to see what that is tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll finally see K4 spoilers. Alejandro, it's time for the Brokener Mask card. The dust. The dust of the Mask of the Crusader. Okay, Alejandro. I should have messaged you. Hold on.
Who do I have to talk to about getting the rest of the Mikage spoilers?
Yeah.
Can we do something about that?
Yeah.
Just post them. It's fine. Just there has been Fox spoilers.
So many, and I love all of them. I already have the deck built with very fancy proxies.
Long Tony.
He does a jiggle when you hold him up like this under his elbows.
He do the jiggle. Long Tony does the jiggle. Yeah. Do it jiggle. Yeah, do.
And then he goes back to sphere mode.
Long Tony sphere mode.
Long Tony sphere mode. Make him Long Tony again. You have to say the ancient chant.
Arise, Tony. Arise. Tony, arise.
Tony, arise. So, jumping off of these. So, yeah. So, yes. Lachlan, there have been spoilers. The only rulers that we do not have the spoilers for, that we do not have spoilers for at this point in time is the remaining Mikage spoilers, because they were supposed to be a content producer and we haven't seen those yet. Some kind of error has happened. Kaguya 4.
Whoa.
Haven't seen her spoilers yet. And from Lapis Lazuli, I think that's it.
Yeah. Those are it.
Those are it. So, and if there's one more glorious card, we got one more. But literally every other Lapis Cluster ruler has gotten support in this set. So, you don't understand turn 1 this man had 7 stones? Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, Yigdor.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yigdor plus Long Tony plus Chimera equals stones. Lots of stones.
Big stone. It's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it.
Tell your mother I got this for her.
So
and this one too. And this one.
In the stone too.
More of these.
We also got some cool
Stony. Come on.
Yeah, for sure. We also got some new spoilers. We got Zero's Familiar, which looks very, very nice. This is our next monthly promo that's coming out. Zero's Familiar. And we got Rustin as a cart. This is Replicant. There's this Replicant Dante. It's not actually Rustin, but like this man just like, I don't know, it gives off Rustin vibes. This is Replicant Dante. Someone edited a picture of this Replicant Dante holding a Dr. Pepper, and I was like, it's perfect. It's just Rustin.
Perfect. There you go.
Rustin's a community content creator who got made into a card before I did. What do I have to do?
Classic.
What do I have to do to get made into a promo card? Alejandro!
How hard do I have to shill this game to get my own promo card?
Replicant
Rustin. Yeah, for sure. I don't...
Yes.
Charlie's been a card.
Yeah.
Not in my hand.
Hey, at least I voiced a card. That's true. I did. Maybe you got made into Bianchi.
That's true.
Listen, I would love to get made into like a Bianchi like cosplay or like a Bianchi custom like promo card. I've got the cosplay literally right there. You can see the jacket. It's hanging out. Just have to style the wig and then it's done. And then I'm ready for FowFest. I have to win worlds. I have to compete. I don't compete anymore.
Every time they don't make you into a promo, you're just like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, I'll
you
just
become the character instead.
That's it. That's the plan. Listen, this is the cluster too. Get Lapis, cosplay. Fox, cosplay. Bianchi Fraternity cluster, cosplay. Compete, Jeremy. I could do it. No, I have to host a bunch of tournaments. I have to host them and commentate them. But we do have some. So speaking of tournaments that I'm hosting, I do want to show off. We have started.
There's the second.
There's the second we needed. I have started showing off the FowFest prize wall mats. There will be 6 of each of these mats available on the prize wall for 40 points apiece. So there are 60 FowFest 2025 exclusive mats that will be available. So I'm just going to go through 9 of the designs for now because I can't show you the 10th. Deal with it. So our first one is Ashwin. Gil Lapis's favorite little beast turned into a lady. Ta-da. Or have someone make it to Worlds and say Jeremy is their card art. That I will say, I think Holscheiser and I have a deal about that with Long Tony, where he gets to be Tony and I get to be Lilia's Petal. If he wins Worlds and gets to choose into a promo, right? Holscheiser, we talked about this. That I get to be the Lilia's Petal to you being Tony somehow or something.
Get it on paper.
So the first one is
not real, it's on paper.
That's true. So the first one is Ashwin, which I think is very, very nice. The second one is Crimson Lie, Unison Dance. I didn't want to grab XRs. I specifically didn't want to grab XRs because XRs feels like ones that the company are probably going to produce. Like they did a lot of that at Worlds. So I didn't want to grab XRs, but this also is like fan favorites. Lumia Lunya seemed really Lumia Nyarlathotep seemed very easy. So we're doing that. We also have Echo from Trinity Cluster 2 getting made here as one of our 10 playmats. The one that I hope Mike looks up from his phone to pay attention to, because I think he will like it the most. This is Epic of the Dragon Lord. Is the artwork for this one from the book cards. So
he's in chat.
Yeah, Kiki has made it. Kiki's in the chat.
Kiki's in chat.
On a
Kiki's on that.
Very nice. Kiki and Ragnarok hanging out there in the corner, just being chill. We got, speaking of Fox, the sub-ruler for Fox. This turned out so good as a mat. Ugh. So good. So good. So good. Pluto. Another villain. Everybody loves the Luminaries as well. Wanted to try to get a good spread of like heroes and villains, different attributes, different fan favorite characters. Pluto just felt like a very obvious choice. Just frames up very nicely for a playmat. Going back to Trinity 2 or 3 for a minute, we've got Replicant Sylvia. Sure, everyone will really like this one a lot. I sent a picture of the sample one to our. I sent a picture of this to our group chat. I was like, "Oh, hey, look, the first mat that Tyler Tompkins is going to try to get."
There we go.
There it is. Pretty obvious. And then Zero's Garden.
I think the only thing that would make Tyler Tompkins happier is if it was Sylvia in a maid outfit.
Listen, she was a dragon maid for a minute.
Dragon maids, Yu-Gi-Oh players are gonna love this.
There's this Zero's Garden with the owls here. I think this also turned out. I will say this one had to be argued for Paul, and I'm glad he did. When I first saw the card, I was like, there's something about this art that isn't really doing it for me. I'm not really sure. But then I put it into framing as a playmat, and I was like, nope, Paul's right. This is a no-brainer. This is a really good one. So Zero's Garden for sure. And then the last one that I can show you is very clearly going to be Long Tony.
Tony!
So obviously we were going to try to do one. I know a long time ago we talked about maybe doing one or the other, and I was like, nah, we're just going to do both. So, yeah. So those are our 10 playmat designs. Or, no, sorry, apologies. Those are our 9 of our 10 playmat designs, because you won't see the 10th one yet. So that tinfoil hat speculation about what that could mean. But but those are 9 of our 10 designs. Again, these will be on the prize wall, which you can earn prize wall points for participating in circuit events and playing in side events at FowFest all weekend long. There will be 60 of these playmats available. And so hopefully most everyone, I mean, obviously not everyone will get one if we have 70 plus players, which we're expecting, but a lot of people will get them, and they will probably be the first things to go out the door. We will also have life trackers and Japanese Force of Will decks and banners and acrylic Prisia replicant deck boxes and all kinds of crazy cool stuff on the prize wall this year. And other awesome, amazing, hard to find playmats too. It just won't be the FowFest exclusive design ones. There are so many good arts to pick from. These are some good ones. Yeah, thank you. Kaguya, how many prize wall points is participating in the circuit kits in the Discord? So our Discord gives 5 for participation, and then if you win, you get 25. So you can earn 30 by playing if you win our circuit event. Prisia replicant deck boxes. So that's a great question, Glorian fan. I have mine right here. One sec.
Replicant.
So these are made by a French company named Replicant, I believe is how it's pronounced. Replicant. And they make these amazing, cool, like 3D sculpted deck boxes. They did one for Zero a long time ago. Then they also made these Prisia ones. They work really well for ABC decks. I really like them a lot.
Where's my Valentino one, Replicant?
And we will have 10 of these, not in green, but in gray. These are very paintable. They're designed to be very paintable and customizable, which is very nice. I just haven't painted them because I suck at painting. But that's that. And so we'll have 10 of those available at the FowFest prize wall this year, which is pretty exciting.
Alejandro, don't toy me with me like this.
So at the moment, you have 5. Yes, if you have played in one of my circuit events, you have 5 prize wall points. We have a running log that when you check in for FowFest, we will say, like, do you have prize wall points? What is your name? And we will hand you prize wall points when you check in so that you know what's going on. Very easy. And that takes us to the end of our time. A lot of stuff. We'll talk about a few more spoilers next week. And we'll also be talking about 2 ban lists next week. We'll have our updated Wanderer ban list, and we'll have the very first official Paradox ban list. And hopefully by then we'll also have GP dates so we can talk about stuff. I have no control over that. The only GP that I know of a date right now is June 6th through the 8th at Kalamazoo, Michigan at the Radisson Hotel because it's FowFest. That's my event. But yeah, we're going to see. Do you need to win to get points or just compete? If you play in our circuit events on Discord, you just have to compete. You get 5 points just for signing up. When you come to FowFest, you also earn points just for signing up for side events, but you earn more points the better you do. So there's that. You want a GP next weekend? Where? Where would we have one?
My basement.
and maybe ABC ban list. Yeah. Next Monday might be like, we might just skip spoilers and go straight into news. Because like, if we get GP dates, then we'll have, and we get an ABC ban list and a Q&A, then we'll have ABC ban list, Paradox ban list, Wanderer ban list, GP list, Q&A. All to talk about next week. So it's going to be a long one next week. It's going to be pretty exciting. You'd fly out from Mike's basement, GP. Jeremy Lindley, GP, your house. Everyone's invited. Sure.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And probably a CR update as well. Yeah, for sure.
And a CR update.
Oh, God. It's going to be so much. On that note, though, I do have some exciting stuff for you guys this week. We have some cool videos coming up this week. We have Blue Glow feature match versus Throm Alex, and it ends differently than you would expect. You will not imagine how it ends. And deck profiles, of course, for the Blue Glow. We'll have our box opening video later this week for our sneak peek box opening of, you can finally see stuff get cracked and what things happen and what a God Pack might look like if we can pull one. We'll see. But a lot of cool stuff. Getting into some pretty exciting stuff. And we might even see if we get GP dates, that also means we get GP promos next week. So like if that happens this week, that would also be very exciting. But that's all that I have for now for everybody. So thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, this has been myself, DMO73, and I've been joined as always by Mike Rance.
I know what the 10th mat design is, but I'm not going to tell you.
I don't think you actually do. And Paul Reisman.
I don't know if I do either.
Polk Reisman, thank you.
Oh, sorry. Polk Reisman.
Polk.
Okay. Class dismissed. This is chaos. Bye.